I would love to take the time to go into all of those, but I'm not going to. Because to talk about really what docility to the Holy Spirit is, for now, I just need the first, that the Holy Spirit is the most welcome guest of our soul. Actually, the old liturgy for the Mass of Pentecost called him dulcis hospe animae, the sweetest guest of our soul. And this is a really powerful image, particularly for understanding what docility to the Holy Spirit means. Because the way we should be docile and the way we should express our devotion to the Holy Spirit is very much the way a good host treats a good guest. So what's the first thing that psychotic mothers do when guests are coming over? They clean house. And that's what we do. To welcome the Holy Spirit into our soul, to really become temples of the Holy Spirit, we need to clean that temple. And that cleaning, that dusting off of cobwebs, the sweeping of the tiles, the removal of dirt, the washing, these kinds of things. This is what it is to get rid of all the vices in our soul. All of those things, all of those tendencies towards sin, and all of the sins that stain us and make our souls unworthy, in a very real sense, to be His temple and to bear Him. And so, obviously, the most important thing there is confession. But that's only the first step, and in a sense, it's if we get caught up there, we really do miss the point, because what happens after the house is clean, that's not good enough. The good host sets out then good things for the guest. You've got the tray of hors d'oeuvres. You put things out which would delight the one whom you're welcoming into the home. And so if the first stage is the removal of vice, the second stage is the cultivation of virtues. The Holy Spirit loves the goodness of our soul because, like Dave was saying in his Mass talk, we were made in the image of God. And He delights in that image and likeness. And so the way we do this is not just to get rid of everything that's unfitting, but really to do everything that we can, everything that's within our human and natural power, to grow in virtue, to really shape that image within us. And this is where all of the great cardinal virtues come in. But that's not it either, if we stop there. If we stop there, we're still only in the natural life, because vices and virtues are things that come naturally to man. And so the last two stages in welcoming this sweet guest move us into the supernatural realm. And the third is very easy. Once you've cleaned house and once you've set out good things, you then welcome the guest. And for the good host, when everything is prepared, when the table's laid out, the host waits in stillness, but not a kind of silence, a kind of eager stillness, a pregnant stillness. We're anticipating the coming of the guest. And so the moment that knock is heard, we jump, we leap like John the Baptist in the womb of Elizabeth. And this is the way that we express our devotion to the Holy Spirit, that once we have cleaned out what is evil within the soul, once we've done what we can to remove the vices, and once we've done what we can to build up the virtues within our soul, we then wait for His arrival. And principally, this is through the movements of conscience. Because at this point, once you've gotten rid of vices and cultivated virtues, we can trust that we have a well-formed conscience. And so the movement of that well-formed conscience is the knock at the door. And it doesn't have to be anything more than that. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. And so, related to this, there's a great quote from one of the early church fathers. He says, "Let there be no delay between your good intention and your good deed." Let there be no delay between your good intention and your good deed. That's the immediacy of the rising once the knock is heard. We go, we leap like John the Baptist in the womb of Elizabeth. And then we get to the fourth stage, or the fourth moment of docility, of welcoming that guest. And this is ultimately the best one and the most supernatural. And that's delighting in his conversation. The guest is here. The guest is within us. He dwells within our souls, and we are temples. It's time to worship. It's time to praise. It's time to sit and be with him and delight in that presence.